We need to realize that like we're not entitled to somebody else's life just because they make the content that we like, right? Like at the end of the day, like we're all human beings. And secondly, like kind of on the don't meet your heroes theme, but like figure out like what was the essence of what she was providing to you and can you get it elsewhere? Like I don't like that
Yes.
Target rolled back all their DEI policies. So guess what? I don't shop at Target anymore. Like granted,
Yeah.
is that the most like earth-shattering activism? No, but is it within my control? Yeah. Yeah. But you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like it's figuring out like I'm not gonna be the kind of person that's gonna go like I don't love Elon Musk, but I'm not gonna go set a Tesla on fire. Greetings and welcome back to the Kiss My Aesthetic podcast. She's a three-peat guest, which doesn't happen too often. I think we've only had a few people that are three-peats, but she's back. Welcome back to the podcast, Adelaide.
Hello, Michelle. So excited to be back.
Yay, it's been a while since we've talked, and we've also had a lot of new listeners to the podcast since we've last talked. So for anyone who doesn't know you, you also have a 3-letter acronym creative agency, similar to mine. But tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help.
Yes, so I'm Adelaide Matte. I'm the CEO of AMD Creative, and we do branding, marketing, social media management, content creation, and Squarespace website designs. And this is my 8th year in business, and me and Michelle found each other probably in like my 2nd or 3rd year of business. And since then, it has been so much fun to watch you grow and also grow alongside you in Alabama while you're in California. So it's been so
Exactly. For so many reasons, our businesses are so similar, but also in a lot of reasons, they're so different. And I think even just watching you grow in the last 2 years since the last time you were on the podcast, things are different at AMD, aren't they? Tell us what's been
Oh,
going on.
it has been a massive makeover for the entire agency. I had all full-time people, and then I completely restructured it, and we've doubled in size in the past 2 years,
Wow.
and our revenue is tripled annually. So it's just been like all about finding the right puzzle pieces to build the beautiful puzzle of AMD and not trying to run like a traditional agency. I think that's just not really where we are anymore as actually agency owners to run
Yeah.
a typical brick and mortar. Everyone comes in, everyone's on payroll. Things are moving way too quickly for everyone to operate that way now.
And the beauty of being your own boss is you can change at any time. Like, granted, it'll cause a little bit of whiplash for everybody else, but talk to us about how your relationship with yourself in the last 5 years has changed as a business owner. Because I know you and I send voice memos back and forth. We DM, we get on the phone every once in a while. So to kind of give like a preview into that world, where did you find yourself a few years ago, and what do you feel like you know now that you didn't know then?
Yeah, I think I felt like I was acting as an employee of my own business, which was such an issue because as a business owner, if the business can't run without you, then I don't feel like it's an actual business because for me, like all of the operations and I was so deep into the day-to-day type of stuff, and I still operate day-to-day with the team, but it's a lot more free flowing for me. And so I get to be able to just take my discovery calls, pick up a project if I want to pick up a project for design. And instead of really like clocking in 9 to 5, being everyone's, mom. So now
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
that anymore. Everyone's very autonomous. And I feel like I have control over my life and everything has changed for me. And it really was just a mentality shift and then delegation to the team members.
Yeah. Was there one moment where that shift happened, or do you feel like you got like pebbles, 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 and then you got hit with the brick? Like, okay, we got to do something else.
Yeah, there was like a moment where one of my old employees just like really disappointed me. And I realized I was placing way too much value on their approval of me. And I wasn't running my company in a way that a CEO should run her company. It was like, let me see if I can be everyone's friends and make sure everyone feels comfortable and everyone feels safe and everyone feel like they love their job. And like, that's also how I was in life too. But when that one employee disappointed me, I just was like fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
But
not.
like to your point, I think because we are younger, right? And we are younger for being bosses, quote unquote, for as long as we have, right? Like we have this really great opportunity to do things differently. So like for us, like, yes, of course, we want everyone to love their job. Yes, of course, we want everyone to feel fulfilled creatively and feel like they're doing their best work and have autonomy for their schedule and their but I think that hasn't always been default, right? Cuz like if you think of even people that are 10 years, 15, 30 years older than us, they didn't have any of those things as baseline. So I feel like millennials and even Gen Z, we've already established a baseline. And so then what's the course correction of that is what, in your opinion?
Just boundaries.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
boundaries as a business owner and just being able to say, hey, I'm available at this time and you can ask me any question that you want because I want to make sure you have everything that you need. But if it is outside this time and it is when I'm trying to do sales calls or whatever, I think that really changed everything. It's just setting stronger boundaries for me and also going remote as an agency. Like, I know you've always been remote since like the beginning. And like for the longest time, I had a brick and mortar office and everyone was full time. And when I realized I felt like very, very trapped in that type of position because, I'm just a very creative girl and I need to be able to go and travel and get inspiration here and like waking up, getting dressed, putting on business casual, going into an office and then managing people every single day for 7 years was just like a lot. It's just always, and I love my team. My team's amazing. It's just that I think we all thrive so much better now that we all have our own space and we can work from wherever. Like one of my team members is going to Utah for a month. Another one is going to Italy for a week and like working from there. And then it's just everyone can have their own time to be creative, but then all come together when it's time to really focus. And that's been a huge shift for me, really, is being remote now. So,
Yeah. I mean, and we share a team member, Cody. We
yes,
have to give Cody her flowers.
Cody's
Because Cody's working in Spain this week. And we
yes,
had a great conversation on Monday where I told her, I'm like, okay, don't you feel like you've cracked the code? Like living in Europe and working for the West Coast clients specifically, you have the first 8 hours of the day to yourself. Like you
yes,
can go to a museum, you can go to a cafe, you can go on a run, you can go to the beach. Like, and then it's like, okay, I'll start my workday at 3, 4 p.m. That's fine. That's enough like crossover, like to have that sense of autonomy to start and then get into then you feel fueled to get the work done. At least that's what I did when I was
yes.
nomad travel. How do you feel like you balance between working on trips or just like going on trips and unplugging and like following that creative inspiration?
Yeah. So, as someone who has ADHD, and I don't know if you are as well, I think you are, but like,
Probably.
like you
It's
just
all a spectrum, right?
whatever, it's a spectrum. I'm undiagnosed, but I just, as someone who relates to these symptoms of ADHD, I think that the way I can get done work is hyper fast and like very focused. So, and I like to work in like 4 hour sprints. So if I sit down with a cup of coffee, a good playlist, and I have to get done 16 things, I will get it done in 4 hours where might take someone else 8 hours to do that. But at the same time, it's all about perspective. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna focus in on, okay, I'm at this lake and I'm watching these boats and I have this out here, and then I can focus for 4 hours and get everything done.
Right.
It's a different type of brain, I think. I think everything in life is about effort and focus. And so when you can just hyper fixate and hyper focus on what you need to get done and prioritize creativity, work life balance, all of those things, then I feel like it's fun and it's easy because it's getting work done and it's feeling productive.
And you have to learn what working style works best for your creativity. Like for me, I'm very similar to you. If I've got a branding project, my best case scenario for working on that project is an entire day, sun up to sundown, where I don't have to work on anything else.
Yes,
I get to do the hyper focus. I get to follow down a rabbit hole. I get to try a new tool. I get to put a new spin on it. But also it's knowing that like I'm not going to expect myself to perform the day I sign that contract. It's like
exactly.
there's onboarding, there's homework. Because even when you're not working, you're still working. I'm on a dog walk, I'm in the shower. I'm thinking
Yep,
about what I'm going to do on Wednesday. I'm
exactly.
thinking about what I'm going to create when I actually sit down on my computer and like pop up on TikTok live and start getting this thing done. So I think you have to like really learn that about yourself. And I would guess that's a lot of reason why people who are still working a traditional 9 to 5 or are getting called back into office as creatives, like why they're dreading it, because creativity does not work within, it's not a light switch that you turn on, right? Like it's way more flowy than that. And I know you and I are both like woo woo people. How much do you let the woo woo come into the creativity?
Oh, so much. It's getting really hard to like, be normal over here. I think like for me, I have to get okay, so I'm all about like the senses, right? So if I have like a good smell, I have a good taste, I can look at something pretty, I can listen to music, and I'm like wearing something comfy, like I'm thriving, I'm working. So if I'll put on like a nice, either incense or candle burning with all of the senses activated, I'm so focused. And it's like a really beautiful thing to have a creative mind. And we're not meant to live in the typical world. It's just
No.
not. We kind of
No.
have to write our own rules. And I think as a creative, you do need to write your own rules and figure out what like your limits are, because it is so easy to get into those 8 hour, all day spurts. But then like, okay, that can only happen like once a week, or like that can only happen like, 2 times a month, just to figure out what your body can take, because we expel energy a lot faster, but it's quality.
Have you ever been the person that tried to do too many creative days back to back to back?
Oh, yes, yes. So
And what happened?
yeah, so I'm launching this new Instagram account called Coast of the Cringe, and I like got the entire download on a Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, I already saw the brand in my head. Thursday, I already, had the entire Pinterest board made. Friday, I'm already like putting together merch logos, vector files. And then Monday, I'm filming content for the entire day. I'm script writing, I'm transcribing, I'm making the reel covers. Like that was 5 days of back to back to back creative work. And like, to be honest, I was so tired after that.
Yeah,
It's like,
of course.
and then, but what I realized, I was like, okay, well, I'm the owner of this company. I can just like go get a massage, like I
True.
can the next day. And so, but it feels accomplished, because once you see the vision, it's really hard to stop yourself from completing it, because it's like, it has to get done.
Right.
It has to be in the
Right.
world. This art has to go out there right now. And so, yeah, it's all about balance, but it is so fun when you get those downloads of like, yes, I see everything. It's all coming together.
Yes. No, so exciting. And also, how have you gotten from like the top of this creative wave? Because I feel this way sometimes where like you're on a flow, you're like crushing it, everything's going great. And then do you ever like go forward with something too quickly? Like, do you ever give yourself like a review period? Because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And sometimes when I do, I look at what I made, I'm like, this is garbage. And sometimes when I do and I look at it, I'm like, actually, the first thought was the right thought. And more often than not, it's like my gut reaction, that like first thought that I put down is the one I end up sticking with. Do you have a creative review process, or are you just like, no, we're all gas?
Yeah, it's kind of all gas. And well, when you're in the ideation process, like I think of the name Coast Through the Cringe. Okay, well, talking about like how business owners can feel cringy and feel like they are embarrassed of their work, but they just need to get it out there and they need to connect with their audiences. And I was like, okay, how can I relate this back to my company, AMD, which the brand is all waves and wave making? Our tagline is we make waves. Okay, Coast is coastal. Okay, so I can tie in the whole entire coastal theme. And then, okay, well, I have this, new line that I'm doing, like my AMD shells.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what if I made it a nautilus? Okay, well, what if I just made it like like the spiral emoji? Because like you spiral out and when you cringe. And I was like, and then there's like already an emoji built into everyone's phone that they could be commenting and engaging with this. All right, it's going to be a spiral. So then I'm whipping out the iPad and then I'm drawing the
Sure.
spiral. It's like, I think for me, before I even get started, it has to be a whole package in my head of like where I see it. And then I can just knock out the work. Like, and then I'll make sure obviously it looks good and do mock-ups and stuff to do that creative review and like share with friends, family, team members, be like, hey, do you like the way this look? And half the time they're like, yeah, that's perfect. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So take us back to the brand, Coast to the Cringe. What is the offer? Who is it for? And what is the kind of deliverable of this whole thing? The why? Because like, girl, you're busy enough. You're running an agency.
Yes.
What was the motivator for this new effort?
So I'm launching a course and it's for small business owners. And it's all about how to start your business, brand your business, what tools you need. And it's kind of going to be like our lower tier offer to clients that come in and can't afford us monthly or can't afford us to do a full brand design. It's going to be priced probably anywhere from like $1,000 to $1,200. And they can just go through the course, like 4-hour course, and learn everything that they want, and then see if they can do it themselves and have the tools to do it themselves. And that's really like the driving factors that I'm launching this course. And Coast Through the Cringe is the funnel for that course. That's all going to go back to AMD too. So it's like multiple streams all lead to the same ocean. That's where it's going. And so it's not a different business, which I have done in the past. I have started other businesses in the past, like a dating app. And I was like, I can't run a dating app and an agency. But
sure,
for this, it's mainly just the only medium is going to be Instagram. And then the offer will be the course to say, all right, you watch me talk and talk and talk about how I have all these cringy stories that have happened to me and how it led me to be confident. How can I also be confident? How can I also start my own business? Okay, boom, buy the course. So that's the plan.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, so then what are the like modules? Like give us the pitch for the cringe to confidence kind of pipeline. Like how do you define cringe? How do you define confidence? And what are some of those like key steps that got you there?
So what I found is that there's actually 6 different phases of cringe to confidence. So like the first one is the cringe. So something bad happened to you, you're embarrassed, or like you slipped on a banana in front of a million people and then someone told you your art is horrible, and that's like that cringy feeling. So it's like, okay, that's what happens. And then you go down this shame spiral. So the shame spiral is like, oh no, I can't believe that happened to me. It just keeps getting worse. I'm going to keep replaying it in my head. And every time I go to sleep at night, I'm going to think about how awful that was. And then a lot of people just ruminate on that and they never, ever get over it. And they'll never tell anyone. It's just stuck in their head. And like the goal is to get through to confession, which is the 4th. And confession is like, okay, I've told someone knows that I did this and now it's real and it's going to feel a little bit lighter. And then you get into acceptance. Okay, I cringed. It's okay. I can take steps. I can be better. I can get to the next part. And then 6th step is confidence. So it's like, if I can get through that and that was super cringy, like I can get to the next level. I can feel confident, move forward and take action towards all the goals that I am trying to achieve. And so that's what I've seen in coaching business owners, as an agency owner too, you feel this way. When you're branding someone, you're not just branding them. You are becoming a guide for them. You're becoming a coach, a mentor, sometimes a therapist, which is, okay. Because a lot of it's more than just branding. It's tied to their identity of like, okay, I'm starting this company. I'm going to be this awesome entrepreneur. Okay, the first step is typically branding. So you have to be a pretty strong guide for them while you're taking them through this. And so doing that for the past 8 years, I was just like, man, I really need to make a course for people or like a free resource where people can just get fired up and just feel like, oh my gosh, yes, it's been a year and I've had this idea and I haven't taken a step because I'm so afraid someone's going to make fun of me. And like that, I feel like that's why I want to start this, just to get people excited about like taking that step.
Yeah. You've done a lot more public speaking so far this year. Has this idea come from that, or were you sitting on this idea before leaning more into the public speaking presentations, workshops, things like that?
Yes. So we're talking about woo-woo, right? And so like as I was doing my prep for 2025, I was like, it's my 9 year. So I do horology, I do like astrological transits, I do birth, personality stuff, Enneagram, I do it all. And like when I'm planning for my year, I'm like, okay, let me look at the transits, like what's going through. And so I'm a rising Gemini, and I know you are Gemini queen.
Gemini sun. Yep.
So I was like, okay. And so my Gemini rising is activated this year. It's my 9th year. So that's like the end of the cycle. You go 1 through 9 and then it recycles every single year. And you just take like your birth year, your birth day, and your birth month, and you add them all up until you get to a single number, which is 1 through 9. And then you do that for each year. So like for this year, I'd do my birthday January 1st. I added up to 2025 for my year this year, and it's 9. And so all roads led to tell me that I need to be putting myself out there, because with your Gemini rising, you need to be talking, you need to be sharing information
Communicative.
needs to be just like on, and like it all is like with social media stuff. And so I saw that for this year. And I also felt called to do that because it's a confidence thing. I feel like I've gotten so much more confident with my appearance, my speaking, my knowledge, everything. And so I was like, I'm going to take it. I'm taking it. Like, I'm going for it. And so that's really the
So
inspiration.
are you all done with being like mysterious Adelaide? You're just going to be like, it's all out there, Adelaide?
Yeah, I am just like, I'm done with the like soft launching Adelaide. Like, I am like out. Like, I am me. Like, here I
There
am.
you go.
I can't do the mysterious. And like, it really is a confidence thing. And that's why I wanted to help start this Instagram account, because I went through a lot of phases to get to be this 2025 Adelaide. And so I want to help other people feel like activated to see if they can get to be confident enough to do what I do. And I
Well,
think,
and I think the big like reckoning that you hit when you're at like year 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of your business is realizing that like you are a person outside of your company. Like even if you're running your company, like you said, before you felt like an employee, I felt like sometimes like my whole personality was so directly MKW Creative Co. that it was almost like suffocating of I didn't have time, quote unquote, to like post for fun on my personal Instagram. And I'm like, wait a second, I get enjoyment out of that. That's like life affirming for me. And at this point, it gets way higher visibility than my business account. So like also there's a monetary potential, but monetary potential aside, it's like for me, what are the other creative outlets? Like, can I get drive satisfaction out of doing creative things, even not for sharing them, but just because they add value to my life creatively. So like hosting dinner parties, going on trips, like going to museums, like doing the things that I know are regenerative for Michelle, so that when Michelle shows up to MKW Creative Co., she's a better boss, she's better creative, she's a better person. And I think it's so easy to get lost in that and feel like you have to like create so much volume all the time and create so many assets and so many things for people to look at and so many, it's like, like all of this might go away. Like there's still, at the time we're recording this, there's probably a pretty good chance TikTok's going away again.
yeah.
Like Instagram could go away. So it's like, what's your plan even for Coast to Cringe if you had no access to social media? As you've heard me say time and time again on this podcast, what worked in 2024 for social media management is not the same as what's going to cut it in 2025. Platforms are shifting, algorithms are chaotic, and keeping up feels like playing whack-a-mole in the wild, wild west. That's exactly why we made our 2025 social media webinar. This is the deck that we actually sent to our clients. It's 65 slides long. And in the 45-minute webinar, I basically walk you through all the platforms, who owns them, their involvement with the current political administration, what are the pros and cons of each platform, what content performs best, as well as what our team would need for strategy, content creation, and posting and engagement to run the strategy on behalf of your brand. So whether you're a small business owner looking to work with us, or you're also a social media manager or creative just trying to get a better grip of the social media landscape, this is a resource you're going to want to take advantage of. You want to head to our website, mkwcreativeco.com/resources. So mkwcreative.co/resources. This is the 2025 social media webinar. And just for you, I included the one-pager reference guide that we've also sent to our clients to really give you the full menu of options in one big flash sheet. So take advantage of it or hit the link in the show notes to get access to our 2025 social media webinar, because it is wild out there and you shouldn't have to figure it out by yourself. Good luck. Enjoy. It sounds like this is still going to serve people that are still coming to you for services, right? So like where do you feel like do you have certain buckets that are like, this goes in the Adelaide bucket, this goes Coast Cringe bucket, and this goes to AMD bucket?
Yes, that is like what you just said is exactly how I feel. And it was such a hard thing to get there, because when you first start your business, you are looking for that identity. This like circles back to like why branding is so important for someone. But yeah, so there's like Adelaide, the creator. So what I found, really why I want to start this Coast to the Cringe Instagram account, is because I found that I started using my personal account to post the things I would post on Coast to the Cringe account. And I was like, okay, well, you really are getting some good engagement on this and people want to hear more from you. Let's go ahead and like separate the two, because I feel the same way like you do. I want to have my own Adelaide the creator. You know, that's me, because I sew, I make jewelry, I am going on trips, I am doing all the things, I'm cooking, like just like you, on your personal stuff, it's like you have to have that own identity. And then yes, okay, here's Adelaide as the business owner, and then here's Adelaide as the public speaker or the,
Sure.
inspiration. And so yeah, absolutely. The buckets are different, but they're like cousins.
Yeah, it's a Venn diagram, right? Like there's crossover. But also for someone listening to all of this who like really is maybe drawn to Coast to Cringe as just like finding their own confidence and not really applying it to a monetary thing, not really applying it to a business, there still seems like there's a good amount of like value for them, right? Which is like, I want to have a platform to talk about all the things that I want to talk about. And I think what's happened up until now is that most like influencers and business owners try to put everything in that one bucket. So then, I mean, we saw this, it's very topical right now because of the news with Remy Bader, right? Like
Yes.
she built the point that was been made online is like, it's not Remy Bader the person, it was Remy Bader the business. And Remy Bader the business was making deals and getting opportunities based on being plus size. Contrast that to Adele, the singer, who made a career on being a good singer. If Adele loses weight, she doesn't owe it to anyone to tell them. And I really, at the end of the day, I don't think anybody deserves to know what anybody does with their body. But it does bring up a good point of like, if you built a platform and built a business and built a following, those followers are your shareholders. Those are people that are that are investing in you with their attention. Therefore, you're getting opportunities because of that. So to not address it and then and then block people, like there's just so much in the water there. But it hurts me for her because she could have approached Remy Bader, the brand, so differently. She could
Yeah.
have had so many other different facets of why you would be interested in what she has going on besides her weight. But unfortunately, like that was her that was her gateway. And so then like you take that part away, like no wonder people are upset. No
Yeah.
wonder people don't trust you is because like you built something that you then don't that's not a connection point anymore. So like similar for like you or me, right? Like if I only ever post about branding, and then I decide I want to be like an illustration agency, like, okay, like that doesn't mean you can't, but it also like everyone that was there that's been participating in your content up until that point is now what? Left for dust?
Yeah. I think with the whole Remy thing, it really comes back to like she needed to coast through her cringe. I'm serious. Because
Yeah.
she could have just been honest about things, and like what you're looking at as like coming from me who like I've lost like a good amount of weight and I've been so transparent. I've been like posting like here's my like protein, here's my workout, everything like that. But like when I was so overweight, like there is so much shame that is
Sure.
tied to being overweight. And so I think like with her and even with Lizzo, there's
Yeah.
weight conversation, but it's always about women's bodies, right? Everyone wants to talk.
Of course. Well, and all of that is like calling all of that to the surface, right? Like we know that this is it's a very nuanced issue. It's very complicated. It's like granted not like branding, marketing related, but it is social media and it is like the new age content creator. Again, if you had a magazine about cooking and then all of a sudden you're like, no, this magazine is now only going to be about gardening and we're not talking about recipes anymore. You're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not interested.
Well, it's absolutely failing all of the plus size women who have been following her and found her content to be really comforting for them, like her try-ons and stuff. Like she built a whole entire brand for like mid-size plus size girls to see what brands actually will support
Yeah, it was
them.
serving a purpose. Sure.
Like detective work, you know? And so these women now feel like, oh, well, she's wearing Miu Miu and like I'm never gonna fit in that. And so now she's just pissed off all of her followers because like, women's relationships to their own body is already complicated enough. And then when you have someone as an inspiration to say, oh, like, yeah, that would be so nice to whatever. And then she did this like new obscure surgery only available to the wealthy. So it's like, okay, well, it's unattainable now. And so we built her up. Everyone gave her that love. And then she kind of just took advantage of that and discarded the people that got her there. So it is sad to see. And so
But there's some onus on the followers too, right? Like we need to realize that like we're not entitled to somebody else's life just because they make the content that we like, right? Like at the end of the day, like we're all human beings. And secondly, like kind of on the don't meet your heroes theme, but like figure out like what was the essence of what she was providing to you and can you get it elsewhere? Like, I don't like that Target
Yes.
rolled back all their DEI policies. So guess what? I don't shop at Target anymore. Like, granted,
Yeah.
is that the most like earth shattering activism? No. But is it within my control? Yeah. Yeah. But you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like, it's figuring out like I'm not gonna be the kind of person that's gonna go like I don't love Elon Musk, but I'm not gonna go set a Tesla on fire.
No,
It's like,
no.
come
Yeah.
on. What are
It's
we
about
doing?
yeah, it's like kind of about having your own agency. Like no pun intended, right? But like oh,
Literally.
your own agency,
Autonomy. Yeah,
autonomy. Yeah, as a person, because like those crazy world out there, there's so much access that we have to people's lives, their home address, their it's
totally.
it's just like, okay, focus on yourself and focus on making you become the best version of yourself where you're not going and looking for outside validation. You can walk up to the mirror and you can say, dang, I'm amazing. I'm an awesome person. I don't
Right.
need these other things. And so I think that's kind of what we're seeing. That's what social media
And not
is.
to
It's
say
just,
you can't pivot. Like I think that I don't want to say this is like, oh, if you're known for one thing, you only have to do that thing for the rest of your life. No. You can clearly pivot, but know that when you pivot, you cannot be surprised that there are consequences, right? Like every action has an equal opposite reaction. So if you decide to switch up your content, switch up your services, rebrand yourself, go from selling cars to into the White House, apparently. Like, do you know what I mean? Like if you're going to do these big swaps, you have to be prepared that you are going to create some noise around that. Like there's going to be a wake, right? Like to use a boat analogy, like your coastal analogy, like you're going to
yeah,
set off a ripple effect. Like there's going to be a wake behind that boat. But if you have the confidence that you're like, this is the direction that I'm going, period, like it or lump it, okay. Like, but you can't be naive to the fact that there will be consequences. And I think that that's the thing that we most lack.
yeah.
Thoughts?
No,
Agree.
I think no, I agree. I definitely just think like so many people are afraid of confrontation or like even just having the cringy conversations. And like if you are not reacting, that is a reaction and that is, inaction is definitely a reaction, especially with her when she's actively like dismissing people's comments, blocking and stuff like that and just acting like it's not happened. That's a reaction. And so I think she's just afraid of confrontation. And so that's where everyone
So
gets
what's the
stuck.
antidote? What's the antidote to like being misleading? What's the opposite of this? What's the advice that we could give somebody be like, don't follow these examples. But what you could do is, and maybe
I
this is
was,
what they're learning in your course.
yes, I would say do it messy, but do it accurately. Like,
Honest.
honestly, everything with
Yeah.
honesty, like not to just like say, okay, and like there's a point where like what you're saying with her is that we're not owed everything from her.
No.
Like she doesn't owe us like this big explanation. But, if you get enough comments and you get enough issues and you already know in your head, hey, this might become an issue. Why don't you be proactive? Like that's really all we're trying to do. Like, and all I'm trying to do with my course and the business owners and everything is like be proactive and stop just covering up things because it always comes out. Like the truth always comes out somehow.
Or opt out. If someone's content is pushing you to the point of getting you into that negative space, like opt out. There are so many people on my mute list that I just on Instagram where I'm like, yeah, it's fine. You can follow me. I don't care to see your stuff for whatever reason, right? Like for whatever reason that this gets under my skin or the way that you sell your services, or maybe it's that we're too close of competitors and I just don't want to see what you're doing, quite frankly. It doesn't mean I don't want to support you. I just don't want to see it because I don't want it to let it influence me. I don't want to get on my phone at 8 o'clock at night and see stuff that I'm like, oh, clearly this person is doing so much better than I am. Like, I just don't even need to give myself the trigger, but I'm not going to make that other person's problem. I'm not going to go to them and be like, how dare you post this reel? It's so much better than mine. Like, that's what? That doesn't make any sense. So I think also like we're in just a culture where we want information instantaneously. And so to her credit with Remy, I respect the fact that she didn't talk about it until she was ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like that's a boundary,
To
right?
Chloe
Like
Kardashian.
that's yeah, right, exactly. Like the method is up for debate. But again, like if there is that cringe moment or there is thing that is shrouded in shame or there is the thing that you think you're going to get a lot of flack for, like your timeline is your timeline, I
Yeah.
think. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
how I would have handled if I was her, maybe we can play that game. I would have said, hey guys, I know I built my platform on confidence and I know I built it on, my body. And like, just know that my relationship with my body is very complicated. Because of that, I really would like to find my confidence and I want to become better and I want to feel better and I want to be treated better by society. So I've decided to, take action with, my doctor and blah, 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 medical terms. And then say, hey, if you want to come along with me and I'll, talk to you as I feel comfortable, then like come along for the journey. Everyone would have been like, wow, okay, well, she's being honest with
She's
us.
doing it.
Instead of
I
just
wouldn't even hate if she made it paid. I wouldn't even hate if she says, subscribe to my Patreon. I'm only letting 200 people in because I want this to be a closed group. And I'm going to send out a vlog every week of my whole journey of where I'm at. And like, I may not have the words to describe. Like, I wouldn't even mind if it was paywall. Like, do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just, honestly, if you really want to say it, she missed an opportunity for even more engagement in her content. Like she really could have monetized it even more her entire journey because people would have been like so interested into what it is and how she did it. So now I don't know we'll see where she goes now.
I mean, that still could happen, right? But I think influencer culture and social media culture is such an interesting case study because we've put people on this pedestal and then as soon as we get them up there, we want to knock them off.
Yes.
And I find that to be really kind of, again, like a crazy social experiment that I think any other generation has been as tightly bound to. But I mean, Britney Spears, like this isn't new. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
Jessica Simpson, Lindsay Lohan, like this isn't a new phenomenon that we've like put, especially women, especially young women, and then found every opportunity to talk about how terrible they are. And that's the patriarchy and that's misogyny in a nutshell. But I don't know. I think you're onto something with the coast to cringe of like
coast through the cringe. Yeah.
Coast through the cringe is like, how do you get over yourself? And also, how do you find other means? For me, it's how do I find other places to get my cup filled that aren't work?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, like if work's not going the way I want to, or I'm not proud of something, or I had a bad quarter, like where else can I get that dopamine that's not tied to my financial income and my business? Where I'm like, you know what? I'm still a person and I'm okay. Okay, so maybe I had a down quarter. I was a really good friend last quarter.
Yeah.
I was really close with my family last quarter. Like I did more leadership, more outreach, more education than I have ever last quarter. Okay, like where it comes out to net zero. I don't know. What do you think about that? That whole kind of reframing.
I love that. I think like as humans, we just restrict ourselves so much from being human. And it's just why I started it because the cringe, everyone's so afraid. And even Gen Z, they can't even pick up the phone to make a phone call because what if I'm embarrassing? What if I'm cringe? Like, it's just like, okay, you're constantly needing to be in flow. And if you have a blockage, wouldn't you want to just remove that blockage so you can keep flowing and then keep finding more happiness and more happiness? But like what you're saying about like just like being easy on yourself sometimes. I think what you said earlier is like when I go travel and I go to these different locations, it helps me show up as a better business owner. That's the same thing here. Like, okay, yeah, I had a bad quarter. I went this, but I learned a new skill that's going to take me to the next level. But I actually took this course or I went to this new entire...
Or I took a break.
Yeah.
I just had a rest. I had a freaking rest. Yeah.
Crazy concept. Crazy. Yeah. That's what I think I struggle with that a lot is allowing myself to take an actual break because I'm so afraid like if I miss one Slack message, the entire business is going to just combust. It's just over.
Not reality. Not reality. Oh my goodness. Well, what's something that you wish that you could have told yourself maybe 2 or 3 years ago that you feel like now you're like, man, or do you feel like everything that happened to you happened in the right order? Are you one of these people?
Oh, if I told the 2 year ago Adelaide what I know now, she would crash out. Like she would crash.
How do you mean? How do you mean by that?
She would be like, wait, all of that happened within a 2 year time span. And all of this, I'd be like, yeah. But like 2 years ago, no. So we talked 2 years ago. In 2021, I said, next month, I'm going to have a remote agency. And it took me 3.5 more years to finally do it because I was that afraid of change. And
change or control? Was it I can see all my little chickens working and that gives me a sense of peace and a sense of confidence versus trusting that people are going to actually do their job when they're at home?
Exactly. You hit it right on the head. It is all about control. And that is the number one thing that I've learned is that control, even with what I do, who I talk to, how I spend my time, where I go. I've had a struggle with my entire life of like needing that control. And now I'm just like, nope, don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah.
It is just like, is the most beautiful feeling. And that's
there's so much more clarity.
Oh my
with that.
gosh.
Like there's so much more space in your brain when you're not thinking about, oh, is so-and-so doing their job right now? It's like, yeah, I'm paying them, so I'm going to trust them to do it.
Exactly. And like my team is really awesome. They all helped like with the transition too. And so I have like my full-time people and then I have my contractors. And so the whole agency is completely restructured from, full-time people doing everything to some full-time people and then contractors who are specialized in what they're doing. And it's just crazy concept, right? You hire someone to do the thing that they're really, really good at.
Right.
Instead of try to do everything that maybe they're not so great at. So it's a great time. It's been 8 years, but I feel like it's where I wanted to be as in the last 6 months. So
yeah, exciting. Well, where can everyone follow you, take advantage of this new program that you've got going on? I feel like they're going to want the details and we'll definitely link it in the show notes.
Yes. So my own account is at Adelaide the Creator and I post just a bunch of stuff, just constantly ripping stories. And then my new account is Coast Through the Cringe and it's all about helping creatives, business owners, leaders coast through the cringe to find confidence. And then at AMD Creative Co. is my company. And so it is.
Yay.
It's my baby.
Exciting. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to send it to a friend, leave a review, share it on social media. We'd love to see what parts stood out to you. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, Adelaide.
Thank you.
Bye.